All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to December officially. I haven't a chance to say that to you guys yet. Hope you had a good holiday weekend. Cold outside, at least it's pretty out at the moment. Welcome to SnowTALK. I'm wave meteorologist Brian Good. This is where we go to talk all things snow for you snow lovers out there. And even those that don't like snow sometimes still like to just see what we're talking about, so then they can send me an email later, which is always fun. I enjoy that, to be honest with you. It's part of the season. I'm used to it, guys. All right. I hope you all are doing well and are doing safely for the holiday weekend as far as your travel plans you had. You're back home. You got your shopping done as well. Obviously, I'm half tired today as well. So I apologize, but we're all going to pull together, right? We're almost there. We're in the home stretch of getting through December here in the holiday season. Of course, Christmas is only a few weeks away. This is wild. It seems like it just accelerated, right? All of a sudden this year. And before you know it, we'll be talking about 2025. All right. So you're not here for that. You're not here to give me a calendar rundown. You want to know, will we get more snowfall? And yes, there is some light snow that's on its way coming in right now. I'll show you that in a second. But as we head down the road, there are some changes that will begin to show up. Now, I'm going to get to the snowboard, and I'll try to break each one of these points, as I always do, in a little more detail as we evolve through the blog here. But this evening's Clipper Flakes, I really don't want to call it a Clipper Snow type event because it is going to be very light, and you will see it actually blow around a bit at times in the road before it actually will just stop moving and try to stick somewhere. So this is going to be a bit of a different scenario for us. And then as we head into Wednesday morning, still watching for us coming out of this Arctic air to get into a brief warm pattern. Anytime we do that, sometimes moisture can be accompanying that change. You can get some very brief sleet, ice pellets, or maybe even a rain-snow mixture. It looks very, very minor. Debate even put it on the board at all, but at least want to mention it because sleet is one of those that gets your attention a little more than flurries do because it makes a sound when it hits the windshield and it gets attention more. So at least want to mention that potential is there, and I'll show you why and where. And then we get into Thursday morning. The Arctic air comes back again for another visit for the latter half of the week. By far, Thursday looks to be the coldest day of the week and could be the coldest day of the season, at least so far. Those are the items we got. Notice a lot of it is this week. There's not much happening beyond that I can put on the board, and there's a good reason for that too, as I'll explain. All right, beautiful right now. Live view into the city of Louisville, looking from the harbors in Jeffersonville. Not able to show our SkyTrack camera, by the way, into Bardstown because Bardstown has had a pretty decent power outage right now that is ongoing, and even took out our SkyTrack camera. So not exactly sure of the cause. Newsroom's working on that. I'm sure we'll have more on that coming up on midday if you're able to watch on streaming. If you know anyone watching or has the ability to watch or streaming from their phone, if the power's out at their home, we'll have updates coming up. So we're fully aware of that, and we're watching it. All right, so we got the beautiful blue sky out there now, but we know what's coming our way here soon, right? Current temperature 15 in Lawrence County, 26 here in Louisville. We dropped to the final number will be due in shortly. It looks like 21, which will rival right at that 22 that we also had for late into Thanksgiving night. Same ordeal, or in Black Friday night, excuse me, that we had the temperatures into the 20s as well. So lower 20s. Coldest I was able to find, at least in Kentucky in our area, was roughly about 14 into Meade County. So yeah, it was a cold start today for sure. And the sun does help, don't get me wrong. But clouds are about to move in. So those of you west of 65, you see the clouds already beginning to approach. This is our Clipper that this thing's been in a thorn in my side for a while. The clouds will move in and it will limit how much warming you're going to be able to get. So you may have a sub-freezing day for sure in this area west of Louisville. It's unlikely you will get to the freezing mark because the clouds will increase. Around Louisville and 65 and east, we may get just a hair above it for this afternoon. Now, briefly, like an hour or two above it, then we'll drop back down again. So what about this Clipper? Well, it's light, as most of them are. This one even has lesser amounts of moisture than what the one that we had over the weekend had, which wasn't a ton, but it still gave us accumulated snow that exceeded 1 inch and 2 inches in several spots. So it was a pretty one for sure. Didn't cause a lot of problems on the main roads anyway. That was a good thing. Today, as this moves on by, not expecting a huge issue with this because it is so light. And as I mentioned, some of that will blow around a bit as you're driving around. Another thing that's on our side too is the roads have been treated from what we had over the weekend to where there is still at least some treatment on the roadways to where that will help out on counteracting any light dusting that this thing could provide as it moves on by. This one is lighter, as I mentioned, than the one over the weekend, and it is faster. So instead of looking at a 4 to 6 hour window of steady snow showers, light snow, at times moderate, we're only looking at maybe an hour, 2 hours at best of a snow shower type setup. And otherwise, it'll be flurries on either end and should be ending altogether by mid to late evening. So the window for this one is short. And it's roughly going to be, though, when a lot of you are getting off work today. The kids get out of school. Just very nice. If you have dinner plans this evening, just pick somewhere that's got a really cool decor in the restaurant there, because it'll be very festive, very much a good vibe for the holiday shopping too, if you're going to catch some of those deals this evening. If you like that, I do. I think it just adds more energy when you're out shopping. You got flakes flying and you can get around without worries of travel. Then I think it's a real pretty snow. But this one has no advisories with it. Again, very, very light. Timing on this is I'm not sure what that is there. I think that was going to be the pavement attempts, but for some reason that didn't load right. Pavement attempts are running, by the way, at about 26 to 33 in the area. We don't have sensors on every roadway, so it's really hard to track those. But we did fairly well with this last one. We have been colder for a little bit longer now compared to the last one. So we may run into a little more of a case where your deck, your driveway may have a better opportunity to get a coating on it compared to what the one on Saturday was. But I wouldn't get too worried about it. Just still use caution walking down your sidewalk to the car this evening, as it's those real light events, a thin coating that can catch you off guard. Most of the falls that we have, even here at the station, the people that over the years that have fallen in the parking lot, including yours truly, have been some very, very light snow events. So just take it slow, walk like a duck or walk like a penguin, and it'll be fine. All right, here we go. Temperatures in the next few hours. All right, here it is. About 5 o'clock. It has the snow over us. It looks like it's a big snow. It's not, but it's just where the modeling is picking out just a very busy setup with flakes kind of flying around, as we tend to have in cold air masses like this. Temperatures should be below freezing just about area-wide at this point, though. So if we have a brief jump above the freezing mark, even here in Louisville, it will be indeed brief. Once this starts, we'll ease back down again. So very pretty, but again, right at the point of near sunset, mid-evening, maybe a flake or two left, and then we drop back down in the lower 20s again. So if we were to say get snow showers that cause, even with some of the salt that's out there now on the roadways, were to cause a little bit of that melting, if you get a quick dusting, some of that may be melting at that point because it's 5 in the afternoon. You got a lot of traffic on the roads hitting that. So the constant traffic keeps it melted as well. But once traffic dials back down again and we drop into the lower 20s tonight, that could refreeze, especially if the melting seeps down ramps on interstates and side roads. It can always seep down and cross over the roadway itself. And that's where we usually run into icy patches. Happens a lot in this scenario. So just if you work late tonight, early tomorrow morning, just pay attention. If you see something shiny in the road there, it's not going to be a puddle. Okay, so just take it real slow as you pass on by. But this is a minor setup. Festive flakes, cold tomorrow. Very similar setup on temperatures, maybe hitting freezing, maybe a degree or two above it. It's going to be depending on the amount of sun we get throughout the entire day as we head into your Tuesday, but a pretty looking day through the window. All right, we get into Wednesday. This is the day where the wind shifts around on us. We reverse the wind. We try to warm things up, but cold air is heavy. It is sluggish. It is lazy. It likes to hang out close to the ground. It doesn't like it go way up high. It likes to just chill out. Warm air is lighter. It's faster, and it is impatient. Warm air does not want to wait for cold air to move out of the way, so it finds the easiest route to get around it, and that is to go above it. And we call that overrunning. And that's what will happen on Wednesday. We're going to have warmer air flowing over our head as we have the colder air that is still trying to slowly leave town. And it's that crossover that happens Wednesday morning, that if there's just enough moisture around, and there could be, this is where you're going to get either ice pellets, Could be snowflakes or could be just plain drizzle as we head into early Wednesday. The reason why I have to list all three is the atmosphere is not cut and dry in these scenarios. It's never this exact same profile north to south across wave country. It kind of varies a bit, and it really just depends on how deep the cold layer is in your area and how much of the warm layer above you is also on the deep side. So that layer is not uniform. It kind of wavers a bit. And the lower that warmer air is, the more of a chance you likely will get a little bit of sleet involved. And the more you got the thicker cold layer, it may actually be snowflakes and flurries. But what I want you to get from this is it looks extremely minor. In fact, there's not even a lot of data that shows anything measurable is going to come out of that. So I only want to mention it just on the sleet side of things. Anything else I'm not really worried about at the moment. If we see moisture levels increase here, that will change the narrative. That has not been a trend yet. But this has been showing up for 12, 13 days now. This particular day and this setup have been showing up. So it's been consistent, but it hasn't been trending up or down either. It's just been consistent on it being minor. So I don't want to talk about it too much because anytime I talk about events too much, y'all read that as it's going to be a big event. That's not the case. All right. It'll go to drizzle throughout the day if there's anything left on moisture because we will be well above freezing throughout the rest of Wednesday. So that's good. As far as the snowfall goes for this afternoon into the early evening, some spots could get, I would say, a ½ inch in a couple of cases. Right now, there are a couple of sweet spots that keep showing up. There's one in southern Illinois that may be a ½ inch, maybe up to maybe 3/4 in the isolated case. But so far, the amounts have been underplayed into Illinois. So I think the dusting to ½ inch is a little more likely. So while we got the 1 inch mark listed here on the graphic, right now, I'm not seeing 1 inch being reached. I think everything's going to be under that, so minor. But this time around, it's our southern counties, too, that, were missed, really, from the Saturday snow. So I'm sure you're going to be excited to get at least something on the ground briefly. You'll take it, right? So that'll be roughly across southern Kentucky, maybe a little bit more of an enhancement into the southeast mountains there that is starting to show up. But otherwise, here in Louisville, dusting to maybe 2/10 of an inch, which is minor, just enough. 2/10 can cover your deck for sure. It can cover your grill. It can cover some of the rooftops, which still have some snow on them in some areas right now, especially on the shady sides of your yard and your roofs. You probably still got snow out there. But it will coat that briefly, but roadways do fairly well in this. All right, so what is the ensemble say for the matrix, which I love? So let me show that full screen. All right, there we go. Okay, so yeah, the ensembles have nearly filled in. There's a few gaps, right? So confidence is high on light snow, but now that we've got most of them filled in, again, now we look at the numbers. Most of them are like a 0.1, 0.2, 1 or 2 maybe 0.3s, maybe mixed in, but it's all a light gray, which means minor. Looking down the road, yeah, not as noisy, right? The signal it's still there, but we're not playing as much Tetris down the road as we get into the middle of December. So more on that coming up here in just a second. All right, let's get you back out to the longer range here in just a second. Let me see if I can get some of your questions. You want to have questions on this light snow, because I don't think this is going to be a huge issue, but I will answer if I can. Let's see. On Twix, I don't eat as much Twix. My doctor actually was not happy with me about that for eating a lot of Twix. So I'm trying to cut back. I'll be honest, I'm trying. It's tough. It's tough out there. Let's see. Oh, got a spammer. Sorry about that. Hold on. That 1 inch contest, you guys are more focused on that 1 inch contest than I think we are. It was technically 7/10. It's 1 inch officially at the airport for our weather team. Ryan Hoke, I think, has December 9th. Everyone else everyone except for Carson, we have around Christmas, and then Carson has early January. Really, though, in my opinion, I think we should give it to Ryan because I had 1.5 inches, and I am not that far from the airport. And so airport always a little odd, but that's the official rules on it. But I don't know. I think it's fair to give it to Ryan, in my opinion. But what do y'all think? I think it's fair to do that. Joe, I'm very excited about the possibility, albeit slim, for flurries late tonight. All right. I know, snow lovers, this is what you're fine with. You're fine as long as you get a little bit of light snow. I understand that. Okay. All right, so what is next? Well, I mentioned the Wednesday scenario, but Thursday is something we don't want to ignore either. And Thursday is the return of the Arctic air. It's the next Arctic front. This one wants to phase. The issue has been the same. Energy tries to get pulled in, but these systems are just moving so fast and digging so far east. It's just not a good scenario for any kind of phasing. So everything is fast and rapid, and moisture amounts are very, very limited. The Arctic front that moves in for Thursday, two things that I want you guys to get from this. One, there will be the potential right at the point of, I would say, midnight to 6 a.m. Thursday morning that we could get a little quick burst of snow showers that may develop on the actual boundary of cold air that moves in. This will likely be before we wake up on Thursday, but it could squeeze out a quick little burst of snow showers. Not concerned about it right now. The reason why is that first off, we'll be warmer in the day before that. We'll be about freezing in the 40s, so that will gain some ground for us. But two, the wind is going to be quite strong with this one. So gusts up to 30 miles per hour, maybe even a touch higher, will be found. Starting Wednesday night into early Thursday, it's going to be a wind scenario. But it's windy with Arctic air. So wind chills, right now I'll take the city down to about 10 above for Thursday morning, but there could be several 6, 7, 8 above zero wind chills Thursday morning. By far, Thursday morning looks to be the coldest, not only for the week, but of the season so far, will be Thursday. So if you got your kiddos off to school now already, just I know it was cold this morning, but make sure they're ready for a different scenario Thursday, because it's going to be cold, but it's going to be wind along with that cold. So they're going to be need to be bracing for that. Cover those ears and hands up there for sure for Thursday. And you adults as well. Might as well go ahead and do that. Snow, I'm not worried about. Again, it'll be minor, but I think the cold weather attack there on Thursday could be a sub-freezing day, in fact, all day on Thursday. It moves on by. We stay cold on Friday, but then we see a change. We start to see the pattern evolve from these cold Arctic attacks in Clipperland that we've been stuck in for a while to a little bit more of a warmer scenario developing across the eastern part of the United States compared to what we've had as of late. And the modeling is not going to get this right yet, but what in general will happen, and I think it's fair, is the cold air is going to center a little more in this fashion. I'll draw it for you on the other map here in a second, but this is where the core of the cold will likely begin to set up instead of just the northeast, and there will be warmer air that will focus in the southeast corner of the country. And while I know you're like, oh, that's a bummer, great, here comes the southeast ridge, or another way to get warm weather back in the area. But as I've said many times, you've got to have this. If you want your bigger storm systems and you want that bigger snow, as you snow lovers do, you've got to have this flip happen. You've got to get into warm air getting injected in. Otherwise, we're going to stay in Clipperland. And while that can be exciting, you saw how frustrating it can be too, because they're just not big events. They're light overall. They're pretty, but everyone keeps saying, well, I want the big snow. Well, you can only really get it in this kind of a scenario. In our area, you've got to introduce warm air. The problem is we end up taking too much warm air and it ends up being rain. But these will likely be your classic rain to snow scenarios that may last all the way through the end of the month, the way things are trending. So we just got to track each one of them one at a time. That's why I didn't put any on the snowboard beyond this week, because it's too complex to try and figure out right now. But the pattern is going to be conducive of a lot of rain to snow setups. But all we need is one just to time out where it gives us rain, say what, December 23rd, be great, and then backlash snow showers for the 24th and 25th and gives us 1 inch of snow to be technically a white Christmas. Wouldn't that be nice? That's all we need. We just need cooperation there. I'll put my order in. We'll see if it happens. But I think we could get some rain as early as Sunday into Monday. And the models try to warm us up. I mean, some of the data is trying to get us in the 60s by early next week. We're not going to that level of warmth yet. I think it's going to be a bit of a challenge to get that warm, but I think 50s, yeah, I do think the 50s are coming back for sure, which sounds, like Florida all of a sudden, right? The PNA, one of the teleconnections, there's several that we're tracking. A lot of them go a little more neutral down the road, but the PNA is one that's a little more dramatic on its change, going from positive to negative, goes to the other side of the black line as we head to mid-December. What does that mean? That typically means colder air retreats a little more west. At least the jet stream configuration is a little more of a dip west and a little bit more of a ridge over our area. There's other factors that kick into that, but this is the most notable change in the jet stream pattern we've had in a while, really. And this is why I think we're going to see the cold air relax a bit, and we're going to have some warmer days. mixed in some 50s with rain, perhaps some heavy rain events. Could even get some thunderstorms. I wouldn't rule that out. I think we'll have to get above 60 to get the thunderstorm action. But I can't rule that out. And as we all know, around here, severe weather can certainly happen in December too. So this still has potential to be kind of one of those wicked months, right? Oh, another spammer. Great. It's that time of the year, right? Everyone's trying to get their clicks in for scams. Okay. Let me try to get them deleted. There we go. Let's see. Kathy, small snows are good. Yes, some do like it for travel. I get that. But snow lovers, a lot of you out there that are on here watching right now, even though you may not be saying much, you want that 1 foot of snow. The 90s spoiled, the 70s and the 90s spoiled this area in a big way on snow. And so everyone, if you grew up in that window, I was an 80s, 90s kid. So, we didn't have much growing up in the 80s in snow. I only remember 1 or 2, to be honest. But 90s, yeah, it was almost every winter you had something in the 90s. Big ones, too. So we got trained a lot that's what to expect every winter. We got spoiled. But, man, we were in the golden age of snowstorms really in that time, too, in the 90s. And since then, it's been a little tougher. We still get some big ones, 13 and 14. Even 2016, we've had some big ones in wave country. So you can still get some decent snow. It's just been a while now. We're kind of in that cycle that's resetting. So a lot of you that went through that are getting impatient. So I understand that. 90 storm, 94. Yeah, that was epic. That was epic. Yeah. Okay. So let me see if I have any other maps in here. Oh, okay. Yeah, this is the cold air, just showing the placement of the polar vortex. Again, it does get a little stronger and therefore tries to retreat a bit more. But in general, you're going to see that, again, the western United States into the upper Midwest, Minnesota, the Dakotas are in a good spot now to get a lot of winter storms, maybe parts of Missouri into Kansas. They may get some fun. Could get some rain and thunderstorms back into the picture into Texas and Oklahoma. We'll see. And then maybe some decent rain events in the Ohio Valley. But remember, the backlash snows will be the main things we'll be tracking, it looks like, in the extended until we get these systems. They're spaced out far enough to where you can get warm air in between them. If you start making it noisy and you get the storm systems several in a row, the atmosphere doesn't have a chance to warm up, and therefore you keep pushing the rain snow line on each and every one more south, 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 south. Then you can get a little more of an exciting weather pattern. But you've got to keep that storm track busy for that to happen. Can't tell that this early. Can't tell this early. But that's what I'm going to be. That's what I'm going to be looking for. I promise you. All right, let's get to it. Let me show you the 10-day real quick. Here's our cold weather today. And again, snow showers, flurries arriving here in about 5 hours, 4 to 5 hours. It should begin a little earlier. If you're watching west of Louisville, it should start here, I would say, around 2 o'clock. Light snow should be falling in your area. And then a nice, pretty snowy evening. And then tomorrow, beautiful sunshine. We'll watch Wednesday morning carefully. And remember, Thursday morning, too, could be some very light snow, but a cold day. Brace for that wind chill on Thursday morning. And then the weekend, not bad. We'll keep an eye on those raining chances that start to show up as we head into early next week. But we at least don't stay into the deep freeze much longer after the Thursday window. All right, guys, that's it for now. Have a good rest of the day. And send us your snow pictures and videos, as always, even if it's just flakes flying in front of your snow light. Everyone has a snow light, whether it's your porch light, your garage light, or the street light in front of your house. The flakes flying in front of it. I love seeing those videos. So send those in on the Wave Weather app. And I will see you guys coming up on midday. Take care.